be careful with those guns.
A crowd rallies outside U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar's Moorhead office, calling for stricter gun laws in the wake of the mass shootings over the weekend in Texas and Ohio.
Those 30 or so people that attended the event told Valley News Team's Callie Hubbard they want lawmakers to take them and this issue seriously.
Innocent people and children are being killed by these weapons on a regular basis. Enough already.
Emotions running high on 4th Street South in Moorhead.
We bring our hearts together in common unity with every family who is now planning a funeral.
As people shared their thoughts on U.S. gun laws.
You don't need an assault weapon to shoot a deer. You don't need an assault weapon to defend your home.
Saying they're pushing for a change.
So Congress needs to wake up and pass some gun control laws.
The only thing these weapons do is put our kids and our police forces and our whole community at risk.
And the people that gathered say they just want to be heard by lawmakers.
Too many people are dying.
So they wrote letters to those in charge, like U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar, needing to grab her attention in the midst of the recent violence and hate.
And if you were to write a letter to the senator, what would your letter say?
Be asking for universal background checks is a great place to start.
And when organizers told Senator Klobuchar that they were holding the event outside, she responded saying she's ready to act right now.
Thank you to everyone gathered in Moorhead. While I wish I could be there with you in person, please know that I am with you in spirit and right alongside you in insisting that doing nothing is no longer an acceptable answer.
So for now, organizers and everyone else here say they're sticking together, saying enough is enough. In Moorhead, Callie Hubbard, Valley News Live.
To see Senator Klobuchar's full statement, go to our website, valleynewslive.com.
New information tonight as a 29-year-old Grafton man has turned himself into authorities. They say 28-year-old Julio Mendoza ran away after being pulled over for an expired registration over the weekend. Investigators searched a building off of Highway 81 but did not find Mendoza. Tonight, he's in jail and awaiting charges.
The man accused of driving drunk, crashing his car in Fargo and killing one of his sons will be back in court tomorrow. The crash happened in March on South University Drive. Authorities say Christopher Devine was driving with 3 people in the car when it lost control, slid sideways in the other lane of traffic. Devine's vehicle was hit by a second car. When police later spoke with Devine, he stated he drank 5 to 6 shots of whiskey before getting behind the wheel. Devine's 2 children, 7-year-old Jason and 5-year-old Brandon, were also in the car. Jason died as a result of his injuries.
Charges have been filed against the 44-year-old man accused of killing a 52-year-old woman and covering it up with a fire. We first broke the arrest of Sheldon Davis on Thursday after speaking exclusively with a man who turned Davis in. Authorities say Davis went over to his friend's house early Thursday morning, saying that he had done something bad and confessed to leaving the stove on at his apartment. However, during our jailhouse interview last Friday, Davis said he didn't do it. He's scheduled to be formally charged with murder and arson tomorrow morning.
The Florida man who sent more than a dozen pipe bombs to prominent critics of President Trump last year was sentenced to 20 years in prison today. Cesar Sayoc, an ardent Trump supporter, was sentenced to 20 years for sending 16 homemade bombs to prominent critics. He sent bombs to Hillary Clinton and former President Barack Obama, as well as actor Robert De Niro and the CNN headquarters in New York. No one was hurt. None of the bombs detonated. Sayoc was arrested in October near Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He pleaded guilty in March to 65 counts, including using weapons of mass destruction and the illegal making of explosives with intent to kill.
There is a debate raging that involves moms and dads and their children's backpacks. A lot of you are putting your child's name on their backpack.
But police say it might not be the best idea. Valley News Team's Melanie Palmer hit the streets to see what you think about this trend and what police want you to know.
We've registered at 2 schools.
It's a busy day for Emily Jorison and her kids. It's registration day. They're getting ready for another school year. And a part of that ritual is making sure her kids' names are written on their backpacks.
Permanent marker and mark it so they can find it if they set it down somewhere.
But some parents don't like that idea. And unlike Jorson using a Sharpie for the name, we're talking more about these backpacks you can personalize online.
I don't think it's a good idea.
Shannon Nadu has 3 kids of her own, and she tells us she's never bought this kind of backpack for them. She thinks it could be a safety risk.
What would be your biggest concern with it? The strangers, like stranger danger type thing.
And Fargo police tell us Nadu is spot on. They encourage you to avoid buying backpacks with your child's name printed on it. In fact, they say that could make it easier for a predator or a stranger to use your child's name and pretend they know them. And that's why police want you to buy a backpack more like this one, where there's no first name or any identifiable factors.
You ever had your kids' names embroidered on their backpack?
I have. It wasn't on their backpacks, but it was actually on the inside where the tag is.
But for parents like Ernell Peterson, he tells us he can see both sides of it. And he says it's helpful to have their names written somewhere so they know which backpack is theirs.
I think for the younger kids, it's more concerning. Middle school kids, they know, not to go to strangers.
I drop my kids off every day and I pick them up from school.
And for Emily Jorson, tomorrow is another day of school registration. She told us after our conversation the idea of putting your child's name on their backpacks gave her something else to think about. In West Fargo, Melanie Palmer, Valley News Live.
Some schools in other states don't allow students to have their names on their backpacks for safety reasons. We checked here in the Fargo-West Fargo area. Both Fargo and West Fargo school districts have no policies when it comes to these kind of backpacks.
How far do you drive to get your groceries? A North Dakota senator wants to make sure people living in rural parts of the state don't have to drive too far. Lawmakers are planning a study to better understand how to ensure groceries are available in rural areas where shops have been closing. Democrat Jim Dotson-Rod says he would consider the use of state transportation and excess storage to create distribution centers for small groceries.
A reminder tonight from authorities in Minnesota. They say the new hands-free law still applies to teenagers under the age of 18 with a driver's permit or a provisional driver's license. That means they cannot make or answer calls while behind the wheel. Teens under 18 are allowed to use the phone in hands-free mode for emergency situations only.
More than 3,000 antlerless deer gun licenses are still available after the North Dakota Game and Fish Department completed its second lottery drawing. Antlerless licenses will be issued on a first-come, first-served basis beginning at 8 a.m. this Thursday. Residents and non-residents who have not already received a lottery or landowner license are eligible to apply. These licenses are valid only during the regular deer gun season, which is November 8th through the 24th.
Mosquito numbers are still up despite continued spraying by Cass County Vector Control. And one of the hot spots is in the Concordia area in Moorhead. The city's asking for help from neighbors.
Valley News Team's Katie Opperly takes a look at the overall numbers in the metro and what you can do.
It's been a constant battle for mosquito managers with aerial and ground spraying. One area in particular has crews scratching their heads.
On the campus of Concordia was the highest trap in the Bi-County area that we've been monitoring as of this last Friday.
Ben Prather says mosquito counts in this area have more than doubled compared to years past, from about 200 or 300 to more than 700 recently.
Anywhere within a mile of that trap, we're kind of thinking there's going to be something that's big that we just can't see through the vegetation. We can't see on our aerial photography. We can't see with our LiDAR imagery.
Prather's budget stands at the $1.5 million mark, and he expects to top that this year.
The expenditures this year are going to exceed very likely any time in our past history in terms of the amount that we're spraying. We're sitting here on the 5th of August, and we've already applied more product than we did all of last year.
So now they're calling on you to do your part. They aren't asking for any additional money, just to check your property. Keep in mind, if you have a low-lying pond that Vector Control isn't aware of, they want to know about it and are willing to treat. Vector Control also wants you to check your gutters, drains, and sump pumps, hoping that if the standing water goes away, so will the mosquitoes. In Moorhead, Katie Opperly, Valley News Live.
To check if Vector Control already knows about the water near your home, we have a link on our website, valleynewslive.com.
Valley News Live 10 at 10 continues with no wait weather.
And not necessarily what we needed for the mosquito population. Here's a look at some rainfall totals in rain gauges from across the region. Now, Fargo, we got reports ranging from about 1/10 to 1/2 of an inch. Grand Forks, about up to 1/3 of an inch in town. Some of the big winners, Fergus Falls, 1.6 inches measured near there. Valley City, also over 1.25 inches of rain. New Rockford, healthy rainfall amounts, as did you have in central Becker County in the Detroit Lakes area. Also, some reports in from around the region between 1/10 and 1/3 of an inch, Mayville to Lisbon, North Dakota. And our setting sun showed how quiet we ended our day. Just beautiful conditions. The wind tapering off, the temperatures peaking in those 80s for us today. Right now, we've cooled off into the upper 60s, wind from the west at 7 miles per hour. Moorhead, you have 66 degrees, and we have mid-60s across the eastern third of North Dakota, including Grand Forks. Still holding on to 70 degrees in Thief River Falls and Detroit Lakes, with 64 for Babe the Blue Ox in Bemidji. Very quiet conditions in our neck of the woods. Looking to the south and east, strong thunderstorms rumbling through portions of Iowa and southern parts of Wisconsin, as well as the Great Lakes area. For us, we're keeping our eyes on this little weather wiggle up here near Saskatoon and Saskatchewan. Oh, that's really fun to say. But as we go through our Tuesday, we'll have a chance for some of those showers and storms pushing into our area. But not overnight tonight. Your hour-by-hour forecast shows very quiet conditions. Some of the coolest of our air mass is moving into north-central parts of Minnesota. That's where we'll begin our day in the mid-50s. Otherwise, many of us enjoying a start-your-day temperature at about 60 degrees. Through the mid-morning, your conditions will be quiet and clear. Not any wind arrows on here, so I don't anticipate strong winds either. A beautiful first half of your Tuesday through the lunch hour. Then, in the afternoon, increasing clouds from the north and from the west as that cool front out to the northwest of us begins to push through. We make it into the evening hours fairly quiet and warm for many of us. However, as we go into the evening hours, we'll have scattered showers and thunderstorms. The best chance, Hutch believes, along and north of Highway 2, northeast North Dakota, northwest Minnesota, where some of you need some significant rainfall to catch up to where we should be for this time of the year. Elsewhere, the chances will be spotty as far as afternoon storms. And as far as severe weather goes, the light green you see here, that's just garden variety general thunderstorm activity expected. The severe risk should be in the central Dakotas for our Tuesday. In Fargo, starting out near 60 degrees. Sunny, light winds, temperatures ramp up. We'll spend a few hours in those low to mid 80s for our afternoon with increasing clouds late. And we cannot rule out a spotty thunder shower for your Tuesday evening. Your hometown forecast shows slightly cooler temperatures along the northern tier. We won't say cool in Grand Forks at a sizzling 88, 85 in the Fargo area, Wahpeton at 84, Bemidji at 82 for your Tuesday. Storms rolled into Otter Tail County, and Andrew here captured the leading edge of those storms. Thanks for taking the time to upload your photo. Once again, morning showers or storms on Wednesday. Look at the cool down, mid-70s. That continues into Thursday as well. We begin a warming trend, though, as we head into the weekend. But the weekend also brings an increased chance of showers, mainly in the south. On Saturday, we'll keep you posted.
Sounds good. You always do. Thanks, Hutch.
You bet. Later on Valley News Live 10 at 10, many in the country are on edge following those 2 mass shootings within just 24 hours. Tips that can help you cope with these tragedies right after this break.